Dang, we got educators all across the nation. You know me as the revolutionary principal. What is something that you will say to educators who are in front of young people right now that's dealing with the pandemic? What would you give them? What message would you give them to be revolutionary right now?
Well, I would embrace the fact that the world has ended as it once existed, and there's a new world. So anything that you approach moving forward cannot be the same as it was before. It has to be different. And, chemically, that's going to make you feel uncomfortable, but you got to push through that and make yourself great. People are going to want answers, but be asking questions. You want to be the one that's giving the answer, not asking the question. So you have to do things different. And this is the perfect time to do things different. The curriculum and the education that was given to me really doesn't help what I'm doing right now. So curriculum must change because life has changed, circumstances have changed, people have evolved. So the curriculum must evolve. But it's not meant to be easy. It's meant to be something that's challenging. Don't be afraid to think, and don't be afraid to think about what the future looks like. If you think, or if you don't think, what your future looks like.
Absolutely. You talked about curriculum, and can you talk about your experience going through school? What do you wish that you would have had when you were going through school that we can possibly shift right now as being revolutionary educators?
I wish I had black principals and black teachers that spoke the same language that I did, that kept me engaged, or teaching me things that I wanted to know, like how to get money. What happens when you make a lot of money? I know if I went to a class like, if you get $1 billion, this is the way you gotta break it down, this is the way you're supposed to spend it, and this is the problems that come with it. I'd have been totally engaged in that. I would have wanted to learn what it looks like to have that kind of money. I was told what it looks like to have a job, what it looks like to have to earn a job. And I didn't like what that looked like, so I wasn't engaged in it. I didn't like who was telling me that, so I wasn't engaged in it. I didn't believe the people that were telling me that. I didn't think they were on my side. I always felt they were trying to control me with what they were trying to teach me. Because nothing that they were teaching me that I knew, because I could look to the future when I was young. I was like, I don't see this helping me in the future, me making the kind of money I want to make. I want to drive a better car than my teacher. I think teachers should drive big, nice cars.
I think every teacher want to be driving nice cars right now.
Well, that would make a student be like, how you get that car from being a teacher? I think I want to be a teacher. But if you ain't got nothing I want, why I'm listening to you?
Facts. So how do you make the shift? What is the message for teachers to make a shift from not only preparing students for, because you talked a lot about that, you talked about financial literacy, you talked about how we deliver a message, culture, representation. For educators right now who's trying to make that shift, they may be feeling alone at their campus. Principal may be feeling like I gotta be a certain way. You talk a lot about, acting or being a certain way. What would encourage that person to say, you know what, I want to bring myself in the classroom. I want to go and be more than a teacher, more than an educator.
I think if teachers lead by example and do something fearless, something cool, it'll make their students want to do something cool and fearless. If they look good doing it, it'll make their students want to look good doing it. I think it's a good time for teachers to become entrepreneurs, for them to do something they haven't done before. I think it's a good time for teachers to take themselves out their comfort zone, to show people that you should take yourself out your comfort zone. It's the only way to be great.
Wow. So out of this comfort zone that we talked about, right, and being revolutionary, and I talk a lot about that. That's what this whole conference is for. It's for educators to make an immediate impact in the classroom, for principals to make an immediate impact in schools, for district and superintendents to make an immediate impact in districts, right, in the communities. How do we, now that they're that entrepreneur, how do we, and what are resources that we should be using to connect community, to connect the culture that you talk about, to connect that all back to education? Because I know, many people don't know, I'm on with you 2 times a week, right, with Off School Grounds, and talking about connecting politics, culture, fashion, financial literacy, and all these type of things. But talking to that one educator that may be in the middle of Tennessee, maybe in the middle of Kentucky, or not in a big metropolitan area, and they're trying to advance and mobilize the community, what are some things and advice that you would give?
You know, I think education now has to be very close. There's no choice. So I think you have to be innovative in the way you teach, and that will stand out. If you can showcase that you can hold someone's attention while they're in their house and you're in yours, and if you can get someone to engage in that, like we know what the equation that we want to get at is, right? We want kids to learn. But we know, again, like chemistry, there's different paths to get there. It's right now, it's about educators figuring out which path will get there. And not every kid learns or digests information the same way because they have different environments. You don't know what a kid is going through at home and how he's surviving, or what kind of support he has around. So you also have to figure out how to be adjustable. Well, this kid has 2 parents, I'll teach him like this. This kid has nobody at home, I gotta teach him like that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So this trauma you talked about, and could you talk a little bit about the impact from, you know, everyone knows you from the work you've done with building Rockefeller, doing all the entrepreneurship, ownership, but now your role with just not just all those type of things, but with off school grounds and being with principals and being in education. What kind of impact have educators made on you to continue this work?
One thing is, I didn't know educators like this exist. You know, I didn't know there were black principals that were swaggy, that were unapologetic about being black, that were even in the game. That wasn't anything that was ever showcased to me. So, you know, I learned, number one, that there are like-minded people out there, and that, you know, they never showcase these like-minded individuals. And there are people that look like me that know how to love others before they love themselves. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I learn a lot. You know, to me, to be able to sit and talk to 90 principals 2 times a week is like being in the illest think tank of all time. And, you know, I'm able to learn from them, and, you know, y'all able to learn from me. And we're able to find a common ground. So whatever it is that y'all need to teach is said in a language that I can understand because I can articulate it. You know what I mean? And also to make, you know, being someone that helps others before themselves and being savvy about things that make sense, making that cool.
Yeah.
You know, that should be where the celebrity lies. And that's the person that when they have celebrity, they're going to leverage it for the right reasons. You know, a lot of the people that fight for us, they only fight for others. It's hard for them to fight for themselves. Like, none of these principals are selfish. The hardest thing that I've had with the principals is having them have somewhat of a selfish dream. Every time I say, what's your dream? Oh, to help kids, to make sure everyone's this and that. It's never, I need a big house, I need to be on vacation, none of that shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, sometimes you have to do that. Because the stronger you are there, the more you can help people there, out there, you know? So, every day that I know the problems, real time, you know, like front line. When you know what the problems are, then you know the equation, you know the path you got to get you to fix it. So I think with OSG, we just keep trying to find different paths.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're doing.
Absolutely. Can you
And
talk?
Dennis makes sure
That's it.
that, you know, the things that you're not addressing because it doesn't make you comfortable, he makes sure that you do it until it makes you comfortable. You know, if it comes to helping the kids, you know, we stay focused on one thing at a time, and then we address those things. And there's a lot of different opinions, and then collectively you come up with a common ground on how we should all focus our energy. And, you know, that's something that they don't showcase. Black people talking, being strategic, having debates, not arguments, but looking cool. You know, not being like, oh, I gotta be acting like another culture to teach my culture. No, I'm gonna be my culture.
Yeah.
To teach my culture.
Can you elaborate? And of course, our founder Dennis McKeezy of OSG helped cultivate 90 principles to move forward and make an impact on a nation, coast to coast, right? Could you talk a little bit more? 2 things. One, about the importance of culture in education, and then second, the importance of educators never stopping their dreams and never stop dreaming. Could you talk a little bit about the importance of culture in education and the importance for educators to continue to dream?
Well, if you're not of the culture, how can you have any compassion for the culture? How can you understand the culture? How can you talk to the culture? If culture doesn't affect you, then you don't care about culture. And also, again, language is important. So if you have to be able to speak in a way that doesn't offend culture, that culture will gravitate for, that will inspire culture, that will help and evolve culture. You know?
Yeah.
It's very important. What was the last?
But the next one was the importance for educators to continue to dream.
I mean, it's important for everyone to dream. You gotta dream. You know, the purpose of dreaming is so that you can create an existence for people you love that's better than yours. That's the dream. And you have to be in that dream living luxury, comfortably, to make sure everyone else is comfortable. Like, you shouldn't be uncomfortable to make everyone comfortable.
Yeah.
You should be so comfortable that you got enough to give others. And you can't dream small, because dreams don't cost $1. And it shouldn't be something that's normal, because that's not a dream. It should be something that's considered unattainable to others. It should be something that's scary to others. Something that others don't think can happen. I'm not going to dream about something that's already been done. That's somebody else's dream. I'm going to dream about some shit that has never been done. It's a dream.
Absolutely.
Why dream small? If you're not going to dream big, don't dream at all. That's how I look at it.
That's huge. Well, listen, I want to thank you, and I know all the educators that's tuning in want to thank you for taking the time. We're filming here at Dame Dash Studios. This whole conference is powered by Dame Dash Studios and All School Grounds. But if you have one last message to give to the educators as we kick off this conference, what would be your call to action for them, and so they can get forward with all the great sessions that we have for them?
Protect yourself. In these times, make sure you're healthy. Don't bring nothing home to your family. And in helping yourself and helping your family, you'll be able to help your kids. And reapproach education right now. Experiment. Because right now, everyone's looking for answers. Everybody has questions. What the fuck? What are we doing next? How are we going to fix this? What's the new normal? Make the new normal behoove our culture and us. And teach them what they need to know. Space travel. You know?
Yeah.
Gardening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Understanding chemistry and things that come with that.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Absolutely. Y'all heard it from the legend himself. And this is not even scratching all the things that he has done from Beyond Meat, from all the services, from every project everybody eats, all the different things that have been geared off of off-school grounds to impact classrooms, because all this, and last, is your thoughts on being more than a test score. I know you talked about it, but a lot of things that you're talking about is not connected to just a test, right? It's connected to a lot broader type of issues. And I'm excited for us to talk about this as we move forward through the Revolutionary Educator Conference, powered by Dame Dash Studios. And you already know, we are about to change and save lives through this experience. So let's tune in. Let's give much love to Dame Dash.
Thank you. It wasn't a question, right? All right.
And we're cut.
Nice.
Good.